What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. Hope you guys are having a good Tuesday. And it is Tuesday. I've got my yellow hat on, which means it's Crypto Tuesday. So we're going to be talking with Tim again about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. We're also going to talk about Elon Musk, Dogecoin, and Bitcoin, and all the craziness that was going on Twitter. I guess it was this weekend / early this week. But anyways, Tim, how's it going?
I'm great. Thanks, Matt. How's everybody doing today?
Good. So I think I'm just going to start off right off the bat here with the screen share and just showing some of the craziness that was going on. I guess it was May 13th is when Tesla and Bitcoin, this kind of announcement came out saying that they were no longer going to be selling, they're not going to be selling their Bitcoin, but they're also not going to be selling cars for Bitcoin. I'll leave that to everyone to read. But if you want to see some fascinating responses, it was a fun time and a weird time, I guess, to be following Bitcoin maximalists on Twitter, because there was a lot of different takes and perspectives going on. But either way, it is fascinating to see how individuals and how social media platforms and one individual on one social media platform can have such a massive impact when we're looking at markets. So I guess just before we kind of move on from that, anything that you want to touch upon there, Tim, in regards to your thoughts or perspectives on what Elon Musk came out with? I know we've talked before in the past about kind of the energy usage FUD, and I often refer to like Nick Carter, I think is one of the best people on Twitter to go to if you guys want to kind of get educated. But anything to add here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's we're in an interesting part of our journey here with Bitcoin, because we've got the richest man in the world, arguably with one of the second largest individually held positions in Bitcoin, maybe after Michael Saylor. Elon Musk sending very mixed messages to a very engaged audience in the meme 2021, financial or investment landscape. So a lot of folks are upset with him about how he's handling it, and if he understands the nuance with Bitcoin in terms of its energy use, he's certainly not showing it. And so that's the part that's like confusing to me or concerning, which is that if you're going to throw, $1.5 billion of your company's funds into a new asset class, when you are the PayPal guy, dealing with internet money, you should have a pretty good understanding of some of the drawbacks or, opportunities for improvement for Bitcoin. So he kind of came out guns blazing. And I guess when you've made hundreds of millions of dollars, not once, but like 3 times now, basically with your company, you probably do have a pretty big ego, and you probably will not respond well to being told off on Twitter, which is basically what happened. I mean, Bitcoin maximalists just came out firing, and toxic maximalism is what it is, and we can't help some of those people, but I think that Bitcoin is a force for good. I think it's a positive impact on the opportunity to find a reason to conserve energy, to directly relate saving energy to your financial well-being. And so I don't know why Elon just couldn't acknowledge that. And there's all sorts of like rumors flying around that obviously being an electric car company, he has different stakeholders than, the individual investor might, that would put pressure on him to either divest from Bitcoin, or who they themselves don't have a good understanding of these nuances to the energy discussion. So I don't know. It's my dad asked me, he said, "Is Elon Musk still your best friend?" And I said, "No, easy come, easy go." Anyways.
It's funny kind of in the Bitcoin world, they regularly talk about losing your heroes or killing your heroes or things of that nature. And again, I think it's still very easy to respect someone in their accomplishments and then not agree with them on one of their perspectives or opinions. The one thing that I sort of I don't know, me trying to play devil's advocate in my own mind or justify Elon Musk, I'm like, is this one of those things where he's trying to toughen Bitcoin up before someone else does something, right? Is it is he in the boardrooms and he overhears the energy FUD and he's like, I need a better answer to this rather than that? And by poking the hive of hornets, does that actually end up resulting in, a stronger argument towards it? And kind of just in part with that, I want to pull up on screen here. Brad Mills kind of announced or is helping launch kind of Bitcoin energy film is what they're calling it. Really just focused. And I like the fact that they're raising sats as well. So that's kind of fun. But the idea here is that they're going to put together a documentary and try and really dispel a lot of the misconceptions that regularly occur around this subject matter. And so like the other thing that kind of stood out to me was thinking about, today Michael Saylor pledged $250,000 to helping support like open source Bitcoin development and stuff like that. And I can't help but think that sometimes when people go after Bitcoin or attack Bitcoin, particularly maybe on not the strongest of grounds for argument, it seems like the community naturally wants to counteract that, right? And like part of me wonders, like, would Saylor have made this announcement this day in that regards, right? Or like, would he have maybe waited down the road to donate that money? Same with like, would Brad have started a campaign to put together that video to really put an end to the energy FUD and stuff like that? So again, just interesting, but also for anyone that's like a Indy 500 fan, there's going to be a Bitcoin car, or at least that's my understanding. Sometimes I'm scared about even saying things on the internet, Tim, because I'm like, is this some sort of like deep fake joke that like all the Bitcoin maximalists get? And like, did Jack actually get like, where it's just like, this feels like one of those things that could be fake or true, but pretty sure it's true at this point.
No, this one is true. So Jack Mallers, the CEO of Strike, who's a big proponent of the Lightning Network. And I mean, if you're just new to Bitcoin, the Lightning Network is a second layer or a smaller transaction layer for Bitcoin rather than the settlement layer of the regular Bitcoin network. In any case, Jack Mallers is a young guy. He's a strong proponent of this Lightning Network. And he's also becoming more and more exposed to professional athletes who have an interest in getting paid in Bitcoin. So he's kind of, circulating, his name must be circulating among professional sports. And so somebody reached out to him with the notion of sponsoring their IndyCar. And forgive me, like I'm into car racing and I don't watch the Indy 500. I will watch, I think it's on the 30th this month. But I don't know who the driver is. And even though I listened to a podcast with him, it's somewhat less important. And that was one of the things that Jack was saying, which is that this is not the Strike car. It's not the Coinbase car. It's not the Kraken car.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin car. And so the team principal told Jack Mallers, like, I need about, X million dollars to run this race. And any money that we raise above and beyond that, we will direct towards both charities in the Indianapolis area and as well Bitcoin core development, which is super cool. And so that was the $250,000 donation that Michael Saylor made to the cause. And I'm not sure the total, but I think they'd already reached how much they needed to raise by the time they made the announcement, really. So the money was in the bag. And then it's just a case of just seeing how much they can raise from other, generous Bitcoiners. So it's pretty cool. We've had crypto on Formula One racing this season so far from crypto.com. And now we've got Bitcoin on the Indy 500 scene, which is one of the largest sporting events in America for sure. So yeah, it can't be bad for Bitcoin, but it's not a joke. It's real.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
so
about that.
Again, it's just been fascinating to see some of the different initiatives and programs going on in regards to trying to like support Bitcoin development and stuff like that. And one last one I wanted to share. I don't know if you saw this, but Pomp announced that he's launching like a Bitcoin pizza store. So they're like, it's similar to kind of like the Mr. Beast, where it's like a pop-up business in a way. So I think what it is like he actually partnered with 10 different pizza stores or locations across the country, and you can order these specific pizzas and all the profit goes to helping support like development and stuff. But they take fiat, not Bitcoin, in order to actually sell your pizza because they don't want people trading in their Bitcoin and then, living through the pain of Laszlo Hedzek, who, spent the 10,000 Bitcoins to get 2 pizzas 11 years ago. But one last thing, just when you were talking about Bitcoin and the application layer and stuff, the other day I saw these 2 graphics that was shared on Twitter, and it just kind of like, I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting way. I hadn't personally seen it presented that way before. And so they're kind of showing like Bitcoin as the money protocol in this puzzle piece of trying to like, empower individuals or give individual agency and freedom. And then they were kind of showing this like, okay, well, and all this stemmed from, I think originally the tweet was, AOL onboarded millions, potentially billions of people to using TCP IP for text-based communication. Those billions of people still use TCP IP today. Nothing superseded it, everything built on top of it. And so then when you kind of view it through that layer, we can see that like, okay, I kind of get how that worked, right? AOL was just like an application on this TCP IP layer. And when we're looking at Bitcoin, there's the currency, the network, and then there's the application layer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I was just trying to find it really quickly, but we've all had like a 404 error. Maybe it's less. It's happening a lot less. There was an error code specified for payment type not found in the original internet specifications, or somewhat early in the specifications. So we have been waiting for a native payment type of the internet for many years. And yeah, like Bitcoin is that missing puzzle piece to transmit value over the internet, for sure.
Yeah. And then finally, the last tab I had up here that we were chatting about earlier was just kind of Taproot. And, it looks like we're not going to hit that 90% threshold on this set of upcoming blocks. But, when we're looking at the overall amount of miners that are signaling for Taproot, it seems like it's moving in the right direction. And if I had to guess based upon the little bit that I've been following this, it seems like potentially the next set of blocks, we might like 2 weeks from now be able to actually see it hit close to that 90% threshold, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah, and just as we were talking about just before we went live, as a reminder for the new folks, like why is this necessary and what is Taproot? The Bitcoin protocol really relies on everyone running the same software, but you're not forced to run any software you don't want to run. So if you're willing to participate with this new rule called Taproot, these folks are basically raising their hand to say, I will go along with this. And effectively what we're doing, and to sort of bring it into real world terms, is that if you're looking at a physical paper check, and maybe your audience has never seen a paper check before, but on it you can write the sender, obviously you're the sender, the receiver, the amount, there's a signature field and a memo field. Well, it shrinks the signature field to make more room for the memo field so that you can provide additional programmability to Bitcoin and start to do more complicated scripts with your transactions, so that the money can pay the money, you can pay the robot, and then come back to you, the human, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I just want to give a shout out to Kevin. I see Kevin tuning in every week, just kind of saying he's tuning in from Lakeland, Florida. What's up, man? And we've got Phil tuning in from Mansfield, Texas. Those are both states that I'm considering moving to. What are the odds? And also both states that seem to be pretty popular amongst Bitcoin and just in general crypto enthusiasts. So just thought
I know Phil. He's my original house hack.
Oh yeah, nice. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And then was there anything else you wanted to share today or talk about, Tim?
No, I think I'm good for today. I mean, when I said that I was due for a haircut, I did not mean losing 35% of my Bitcoin holdings this past week. Elon has potentially triggered the market, not necessarily moved the market. We were very likely due for a 35 or 40% correction after the last nearly 6 months of unbelievable performance. I mean, like a 300% year over year return. Bitcoin is now still the asset of the year with a 250% return. But I think when we look back to the 2017 bull run, we saw maybe 4 or 5 35% drawdowns. And so this is just part of the game. I'm sorry if you bought Bitcoin for the first time last week, you've had a rough go, but now it's just the time to dollar cost average. So here we are.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And for anyone that's interested, I know that the last week I've been talking a lot about Gary V's NFT VFriends. We're actually going to do an entire live episode tomorrow where I'm going to jump in and just kind of share my experiences. I'm going to guess it didn't go exactly according to plan for Gary. I thought the market would better receive it than it did. At the same time, I know he raised more than $20 million, so I don't think he's probably that destitute over the project, but I definitely want to share my opinions, my perspective on all that stuff. And as Tim was saying, I definitely view this as an opportunity to stack a few more sats. So I've definitely been jumping in there. If you guys are interested, if you guys want to buy Bitcoin in Canada, there's a link to Shakepay in the video description down below. If you sign up using it, I get a little bit of money, you get a little bit of money, but I literally don't care where you buy your Bitcoin from. But I would encourage you guys, start learning more about it, right? Read the Bitcoin Standard, the book, read the bullish case for Bitcoin, the blog post, read the white paper, and just start familiarizing yourself with it. And again, even if it's just literally I was actually, I won't say the name, but I was talking to one of my employees on a one-on-one the other day. I was like, hey, did you ever actually like sign up for Shakepay and do anything? And he was like, I set up the account. I've been thinking about putting some money in, but I haven't done it. I was like, hey, send me your Shakepay. I'll just like send you $5 so that you can at least like make that first initial purchase. And I feel like I haven't checked in with him since then, but I'll check in a week from now. And I bet that he'll have actually bought a little bit more than just $5 worth. I feel like there's something about like when you get involved with it, it starts to become a little bit, you're like, let me just put another $100 in and let me just stack a few of my own sats. So again, just want to encourage everyone at home, start reading up on this, start learning more about it. I think, as I mentioned from the beginning, I am dabbling in the NFT space, but I really do view that as like gambling. So, overall, my gambling's paid off pretty well at this stage, but like it's still very early in the NFT world. And like, literally there's a paper gain that we missed out on where I think at one point in time on my CryptoPunk, I could have probably sold it for a $50,000 USD gain. And now it's probably only a 25,000 USD gain. And that means the person that would have bought it, had I sold it at 50 gain, they'd be sitting on a 25 USD loss. So again, it's important to understand some of these assets are very volatile, very speculative. I know that Tim does and I do treat Bitcoin in a different asset class than pretty much any other cryptocurrency or any other sort of NFT or blockchain oriented project. And just want to encourage everyone at home to make sure you're doing your due diligence before you jump into it, because I just see so many influencers and people with large social media accounts now just talking about anything. Like literally just like yesterday, Dave Portnoy did a press. Yeah, Portnoy did like the press release on SafeMoon. And I was just like,
don't even say it.
I was just like, I can't even believe that you just said that, man. I like the way he announced it. At least I think he did a much better job than most people when they're shilling very speculative investments or coins. But yeah, it's a wild time right now.
Yeah, no, he was entertaining about it, but it's terrible that he was still basically saying like, I dare you not to try it, putting the challenge there. I think, I mean, I'm guessing by now the people that are watching are off of zero, like they're not stuck on zero like your staff member is. But it's like, where do you tell people to go from there? Ignore all the hype, ignore all the buzz, and stick to the tried and true. Like, has Bitcoin become the ETF dollar cost average investing
it's
product?
Like the boring thing that you should do. It's like brushing your teeth, eating your vegetable. Well, there's probably a lot of Bitcoiners that don't eat vegetables, but either way, it's like those things that like most people would take as tried and true approaches, and we just naturally want to chase the shiny.
Yeah, and I'm here to say that Bitcoin is most likely the riskiest asset at the same time, and like to pursue these other things just because they're going up today could get very exciting in the next little while. We'll see.
Yeah, and one last point to add to that before we wrap up, like with me and my NFTs, I wouldn't like it, but I'm comfortable if they go to $0. Like it's all money that I'm willing to lose, and I think that anyone that's going to dip toe into this space, especially if you're doing it blindly, you need to be looking at it just that it's gambling. Once you start reading white papers, once you start really spending some time, a regular term you'll hear people throw around is 100 hours or 200 hours. Like, have you even done your 100 hours of research or reading or prep in regards to understanding a coin or Bitcoin or blockchain in general? So again, it's very early in this stage, guys. I don't think that anyone needs to panic in regards to like, I have to switch all my assets over into Bitcoin or anything else today. But I think it's a great time to start just educating yourself. So appreciate everyone watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Tim.